Well, it's been a minute since I've done a PAMS Perspective, but my heart is full today. Have you ever had one of those situations in your life where it's what I call a seriously God moment, where you just look at God and say, seriously, is that what just happened? I don't get it. What are you doing? Well, I'd had one of those moments, and I guess it's been over a year. But there's a young man that's been a part of our life for many years, many years, actually since he was about 15 or 16 years old. But he's been incarcerated now for some years. But he was being moved, and he's really come a long way, and God has just been moving in his life, and he's really been trying. And so he had called me. I'd taken his call, and he was telling me that they were moving him off the unit. It wasn't anything he had done, but he was getting moved for some various reasons. But he said, would you pray that they don't move me to the Michael unit? Well, I didn't know any difference in Michael unit or anything else, but he did. He said, from what I'm told, it's just inundated in drugs right now. It's infested with drugs, and I'm struggling. He said, I'm struggling. And if you guys don't think people do drugs and alcohol in prison, then you don't know much about it. It's there. I don't know. As hard as they fight it, it's a big deal. It's there. But anyway, he said, just pray I don't go to Michael unit. So I was like, okay, we'll pray about that. And so anyway, a few days later, I don't know how long it was before I took another call from him, but he said, you're not going to believe where I'm at, where they moved me. And I said, where? He said, they moved me to the Michael unit. And I was like, seriously, God? I don't know how many prisons we have in Texas. I'm thinking it's well over 100. We have more prisons in Texas, I think, than anywhere in the free world. All the units that young man could be moved to, he moved him to the very place he said, please pray that I don't go to the Michael unit. And he's on the Michael unit. And he was devastated. I mean, this was a low time to go, okay, because you got to start all over. When you go to the prison, you got to start all over with everything, and who you are, and your image and your reputation, and a new cellie and all those things. And it just seemed to be the most devastating thing. And I was scratching my head. It just seemed like that was a bad deal, God, that you just did to him. He specifically asked, and that's where he got. Well, it wasn't very long before he calls me and starts telling me that the pod they had put him on right after he got there, I mean, just, I don't know if it was days or weeks, but it was very short, that they tell him that they're going to turn that pod into a special program called Structured Living program. And it's an innovative program. There's not any other institution has it. They're building a prototype, and I'm just blown away about it. But it is a program that they're utilizing other inmates. Yeah, there's some volunteers that come in, but most of it is run from within. And so this Structured Living is a place where they want the men, and I'm going to tell you the reason why I know about this. I found out all about this yesterday. I got a good view because I got to go there to see what this is. But their goal is to put a safe pod where there is no drugs and there's no violence, and the men can focus on learning. And not just learning a skill or getting a degree, but inside they take other men, other inmates from other parts of that same prison that are skilled in different ways. I mean, how many of you know there's very successful people in this world that are very successful in their field that get incarcerated for other things, for various things. So whether or not it's money management, whether it's relationship struggles, whether it is there's maximized manhood teaching, but a lot of these people were in churches that taught things, or were in business and taught things. There's those that's even, one of the guys that's helped start it even wrote the book on, I can't think of the name of it, but they've taken his curriculum and his book that he wrote on the inside, and they've created this deal where these men from various parts of the unit come and teach. They volunteer. So the men in the program, it's a program I think for 40 men, In that program, they get 5 hours a day of teaching. 5 hours a day of teaching for 5 days a week. Then they have chapel services, they have Bible studies, and they have all these things, all these opportunities for public speaking learning, or just all kinds of things that they could focus on while they're in this program. It's a very elite, very few people. What I say, a prison, I don't know how many's in that prison, probably, a few thousand, but 40 men get picked for this a year, okay? John was on that unit, on that pod when it was beginning, and they said, we'll give you guys opportunity. If you want to do this, you can stay here. So John said, okay. He got to be a part of the first 40, the first men in this program. Well, I guess it's 2 years now, because he finished the program himself, graduated. And then also yesterday, Bobby and I got to go down and drive down to Tennessee Colony, the Michael unit, to another graduation where another class was graduating. And because here's what's happened. John did so well in the program, they kept him there. They didn't move him out. They left him there to be a mentor. He's a liaison for the men and the staff. He is a peer leader. And they had him speak. They was having him speak yesterday at this graduation. And I got to go down. We got to go down and be there for that. Get in on the inside and be there and hear him speak and see these men and all these teachers speak, and to see what God is doing, this magnificent, fabulous program called Structured Living on the Michael unit, because God's like, I've got something for you on the Michael unit. You may not think you want to go to the Michael unit, but I'm working all things together for your good. What we think is God is doing something that seems so odd or weird, if we can hang on there and trust him. Yesterday, I was just blown away. And not only that, but because we got to go inside and be at that graduation, and then had a dinner for the families and everybody got to be there, we got to have a contact visit with him. And I got to hug him for the first time in 25 years. And Bobby got to hug him. I'm going to start crying. He's not had a contact visit. He doesn't have family. He's not been able to have one in all these years. And we got to be with him and hug him. There's a picture coming. You don't get to take your phones in there. We couldn't take pictures, but they had a guy there taking pictures, and I'm supposed to get a copy of it. But God can do things that's just not in our mind. It's beyond what we could think or ask. But to see the men, oh my gosh, clapping for him and so proud of him and the progress he's made. But to see his look on his face when me and Bobby walked in, because we got caught behind a wreck in Dallas, and we was about 45 minutes behind. We wasn't late, but we wasn't as early as we planned to be, as we supposed to be. But he thought we wasn't coming, obviously. He thought something happened. But when he saw our face, he saw us walk in there, that smile, I'll never forget it as long as I live. And all of his peers, they were clapping and patting him on the back because they saw, oh, he's got a visitor. He's got a visitor. If you'd been on another unit, that wouldn't have happened. Guys, seriously, God? Seriously, God? Yeah. Seriously, God. He can do more than we can think or ask. God is amazing.